Hey guys, welcome to the video. In this video, I would talk about, I have been thinking about making this video for quite some time, but I'm a little bit hesitant because this might sound a little clickbaity because on YouTube I see a lot of videos like, expectation versus reality and blah blah blah. And this is also somewhat along that spirit, but I would like to ensure you that I would like to emphasize rather that whatever I will be telling in this video are my personal experiences, and I don't want to normalize it, generalize it or anything, or I don't want to paint a picture that whatever I'm saying is true for anyone who decides to pursue physics, who studies physics. No, this is just my story. You may learn something from this, or this may be irrelevant to you. So maybe I'll just rant about I'll just rant a bit, so it's gonna maybe take me a few minutes, some time, but in the end, you can skip to the end if you wish, or whatever. In the end, I would try to list a few points of some lessons which you should keep in mind. Now they may or may not be useful to you, but they were useful to me. That's all. Now you shouldn't keep my story in mind. I mean, if you have time, if you want to listen to it, you can. That's what I'm making this video for, and also because I just wanted to say this out loud, even if nobody watches it. So yeah, but what is important is that don't remember my story or don't remember me, but remember the lessons. Those lessons are important. General lessons. Those lessons have got nothing to do with me. Okay, okay, as you can see from the title of the video, it's physics. Okay, let me start by making a bit, let's say a bold claim, but I'm not trying to be dramatic or anything. I have felt this, and that is that the reasons, the motivating factors, the most important reasons which pushed me into physics in, I don't know, maybe in 2018. That's the time I actually decided on physics, focused on, like, no, I will do physics, whatever, like so many years back. So the motivating factors that pushed me into physics are precisely those factors that actually have little to no place in my life today, now that I'm actually in physics. And I don't know, this is common, not only for physics but for many other professions or many other, like courses or career choice or whatever, many other uh, paths. But yeah, I can speak for myself only, and that's what I'm going to do. So initially I thought, and maybe for guys who decide to go into physics, I mean, not just because, okay, I didn't get accepted in an engineering. I mean, this is very common in India. That's why I'm telling this. I don't know if this is, I mean, please don't try to relate with this too much if you are not from India, but if you're from India, I'm pretty sure you'll be able to relate. So there is a huge percentage of student population who come to physics, maybe an undergraduate physics course, bachelor of science in physics, just because they couldn't, just because, okay, I wasn't not accepted in that in engineering. Okay, so let me just go to physics. So engineering and also medical, these are the medicine and engineering, these are the two most popular choices in India. That has the way, that is the way things have been historically. And so studies like general, like the bachelor of science in physics or whatever, even chemistry, mathematics, these are treated to be second options. Okay, if you don't get your dream engineering college, then maybe, okay, it's better to do something than nothing. So that is the thing. But I'm saying, and I don't want to criticize or blame the system of in India, because, and it's not because, yeah, currently I'm in France and I am pursuing a master's here, and of course the system here is hands down way more supportive, and also way more, let's say, it gives me a lot of independence than India. Of course it has its pros and cons. I'm not saying this is paradise. There are a lot of, let's say, consequences, some of them unforeseen here also. That's true. I mean, wherever you go to study, it's nowhere is paradise. You will have ups and downs. But yeah, the reason I'm telling this is that we often have this habit of criticizing our own country, criticizing India education system. India's education system is not worth praising. There are a lot of things, a lot of stuff that needs to be changed. But it's still true that India is a country with such a huge population and so much diversity, so much variation, so much differences in opinion, in background, in this and that. Yet India has maintained its stance, not only nationally but also internationally. India has maintained its reputation. India has maintained it's I should say it's on the growth trajectory. There are a lot of serious problems that need to be addressed. I'm not saying India is perfect. No country is perfect for that matter, but still India is on the growth trajectory. And although I'm not an expert in geopolitics, but or even in Indian politics, but I think on the whole India is doing good. We need to improve, but we have achieved some stuff over the last few years that I think we can be proud of, definitely. And anyway, I'm a proud Indian, not just because of this, but also because India is the country where people like Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, and I don't know, Satyen Bose, the physicist SN Bose, then Jagadish Bose, a lot of other. I'm just saying whatever comes to your mind, but there are actually there are a lot of other. So I'm sorry that those I did not name, but definitely it makes me proud, which is true for. I mean, we all of us are proud of our countries, right? So that's fine. But the point is, so yeah, this is still a very common thing in India, at least in my experience, that physics is mostly treated to be a secondary option. Like people don't usually like, and the reason is not that Indians don't love, or most Indian students don't love physics. The reason is not that. There are two reasons. The less important, but I mean, it's still a very important reason, is that the way physics is taught in high school is, well, the reason I said this is less important is that in my experience it's taught more or less similar way all over the world. So I shouldn't no, I shouldn't emphasize this as a reason which is like unique to India. In most other countries, at least at high school level, physics is not taught very differently or in a very innovative way. There are exceptions, but I'm in general. But yeah, that is a factor. The way physics is taught in high school is very boring and kind of it kills the curiosity. It doesn't even let the curiosity develop in a student. But the most important factor, especially for India, the more important factor is that students are not given the independence to think. To give them independence to think and grow their way, you don't even need to teach physics properly in high school. That is important, but that is not required for this particular purpose. You should let the students think for their own and just figure out what they decide to do in life. But no, in India it's like most of my classmates are into engineering or medical. My parents are pressurizing me, my relatives are pressurizing me. That's the quickest way to make money, or that's like some society thinks that these jobs are worth respect but not a physicist, and even government jobs. So due to all this pressure, the students doesn't even get the time to ask themselves that what do I really want to do in life. They don't get the time to ask themselves. If they asked, maybe for the answer would could be physics for one or two, but they don't get the time to ask. They don't ask themselves. They just follow the protocol, and yeah, it's usually a bit in like school. In most cases, the syllabus is pretty big, and they always have to memorize stuff and be busy in study, so they don't get the chance to explore themselves and their interests. So yeah, and they'll like get carried away with the flow. Okay, so everyone is doing this, maybe let's do this. The only choice that they really have is whether science or government job, and if science, whether medical or engineering. That's the only real choice they have in many cases. Okay, so yeah, but there are a few examples, few people who actually come to physics because they love physics, and the reason I mean, what I want to say is that regarding this, if the students who really come to physics because they want to do physics, me for instance, people like me, they usually, at least in my case, I had a very different idea of what studying physics would be like, what physics would be like. And that is the reason I told you that the most important motivating factors that pushed me into physics so many years back have little to no place in my life today, now that I'm actually in physics. It's kind of ironical, but it's also true to a very great extent. Maybe I'm saying I'm not trying to dramatize it or anything, but so let me be more clear, more specific about what I actually mean by that statement. So when I decided to come to physics, the idea I had was like, okay, so although that was, I understand that was a bit unrealistic, but let me be honest with you. The idea I had was, okay, so physics is this very interesting. I have read so many popular science books in physics. I have tried to explore a little bit physics outside high school, and oh my god, these equations make sense. I have just a single equation and this explains so many phenomena. This is beautiful. Maybe I would be creating my own equations. I mean, something like that. That's. I mean, I'm not saying that's impossible, but yeah, I mean, not in the way I envisioned so many years back, probably. And then I was like, okay, cool, and maybe I will be working in the front desk of physics in quantum foundations or theoretical physics, asking the big questions. And maybe I will be like carrying forward Einstein's legacy, or not just Einstein, but carrying forward that legacy of, okay, how to mathematically describe the universe. Is there a unified picture, a theory of everything, blah, blah, blah. That is, but today I realize that, oh, it's not that. It's physics. Physics is just like any other job. In fact, it may sound very kind of crazy, but physics is just like a corporate job in many ways. You, if suppose you are a researcher in a lab, you just go to the lab every day, you do routine stuff, you have some administrative duties. Maybe even if you don't have administrative duties, you have students, maybe you have a PhD working under you, you have a master student doing an internship under you. You just look at your calendar. Okay, so today I have these meetings and stuff. Okay, just tell the student to do this, tell him to do that, tell her to do that, and blah blah blah. And then you have, okay, tomorrow I have a conference, I have to attend a conference. Okay, I'll just attend it, and maybe I'll try to see if I can maybe possibly forge a collaboration with him, and that will mean more increased funding for my work. And this is just like that. And the stuff which we say corporate politics, this corporate politics and the toxicity in corporate office, it's present everywhere. I mean, I have not seen it here or even in India, because I mean, here I am part of a physics laboratory, a funded one, but I have not seen it here. But I know enough of my friends and physicists to tell you that this is not surprising. Okay, because at the end of the day, we are all humans, regardless of our profession. So this corporate politics, this stuff, and all this negativity, toxicity, this is present everywhere. If you're a physicist, it doesn't mean that you are automatically excluded from all that shit that corporate employees have to deal with. You have to go through all of that. Maybe someone will try to sabotage you, someone will try to publish your ideas as their own, someone will try to cut your funding, someone will try to frame you for something you didn't do. Maybe nothing too dramatic, like not framing you for murder or something, but still small issues will be there, inevitable. So I am telling all of this in a way as if like I regret my decision of choosing physics and I'm complaining. No, I'm not complaining, and I do not regret my decision of choosing physics, because I still think this probably was the best choice. I mean, if I were to choose something else other than physics, I'm pretty sure I would not be happier. Maybe I'm not fully happy now, but I would definitely not be happier. So this remains the best choice even today, and I don't regret my decision. But okay, this was all for the little part, the let's say the trivial part. Now let's go to the non-trivial part. This is also a valid point. I mean, this is a solution, but this is a trivial solution. Okay, so now what I will try to do is that I will give you. So let's say you have a differential equation which is your trajectory, and you want to solve the equation, the time evolution of your life, of your, let's say, the state you're in, and you want to see whether physics is for you. Now, of course, you can get a general solution, but that will be true for the equation in general, and that will be true for anyone. So to solve the equation for physics, you need to specify the initial conditions and the boundary conditions to get the particular solution, right? Okay, I'm just trying to spice things up. I mean, I try to do this all the time, use physics metaphors, but I mean, apparently I'm very good at this. At the same time, I'm very bad at this, because my friends are, one of my colleagues here, I'm collaborating with her on a project, on a project, and she's like, okay, whenever I and whenever, in the sense, I use this kind of metaphors all the time. If you know me personally, if we are in conversation, like not in YouTube videos or in WhatsApp chat or something, like face-to-face conversation, I drop these metaphors just casually all the time, and she, at the same time, she gets very irritated, and also she can't help but admire me, and I try to act smug. Oh, see, you can't ignore these metaphors. You seem to get irritated, but you still can't help but admire me. And I like keep doing this. It could be anything. Like the other day, she was lecturing me about noodles, because this is a different country and I am not a very good cook. Like back in India, I didn't cook my own meals, if I'm being honest. So here I have to do that, everything on my own. So usually there are nights I feel very lazy, or I just don't feel like the energy to cook rice and a lot of dishes. So I just then we just do some noodles. The noodles. Just some water. Just give the noodles, give the seasoning, and just put it in the microwave oven or even in the induction stove, and it's ready in a few minutes. So, and she was lecturing me, and this is not good for. And she was right, actually. I don't try. I'm not saying this to like in a funny way. Whatever she said was actually right, and I totally respect the gesture. But yeah, so back to the point. So she was like, noodles are not very healthy. You shouldn't take like, this is not a staple food. You can't just have noodles. You can just survive on noodles. And I was like, okay, so since here in the internship, I'm exploring a bit of polymer physics, which is a lot of applications in, I mean, DNA and all these many proteins and all these. These are much of this is biological processes in the cell. These are modeled using polymers. DNA is actually a kind of a polymer. It's a biopolymer, right? DNA, RNA. So, and I was like, okay, so we're studying polymer physics, and if you see the way the noodles, these like just like long polymer chains, and when it boils in the water, it's just like polymer physics. So I'm like, when I'm actually cooking noodles, what I'm actually doing is I'm trying to calculate whether the polymer will collapse or whether it will swell. I mean, whether the entropy would dominate or the internal energy would dominate. I mean, it could be monomer monomer interaction. By internal energy, I mean there are a lot of ways to model it, but let's not go into polymer physics in this video. And she was like, "Oh my god!" And yeah, I can understand her frustration because I keep doing this. I just gave an example of this noodles and polymers, but I keep doing this, and some of them are pretty like very unexpected and might also sound absurd. But yeah, so my friends keep telling me that I am a I am a pro when it comes to physics metaphors in everyday life, but at times I can be very annoying as well. So what I was saying, okay, I lost track. What I was saying was that I actually lost track. Okay, so I was talking about my expectations when I came to physics. The trivial part is done and the non-trivial part. Now I'll give you the initial conditions and the boundary conditions, so you can solve the differential equation for yourself, and you can tell for yourself whether physics is for you or not, because it's your life, it's your decision. You have to figure it out for yourself. I can only share my experience with you, but I cannot tell you that okay, hey you, physics is for you. Hey you, physics is not for you. It doesn't work like that, obviously. I mean, yeah, of course. There are a lot of people who try to discourage me from pursuing physics, and I won't say physics is for me. I've got it all figured out, but I can still confidently say that this was the best path for me, and I would not have walked this path if I had taken their advice. So just follow your instincts. That's the best. That's the at the end of the day that remains the most important as well as most simple advice. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that's not what you're here for. Just else this I wouldn't be recording this long video if all I wanted to tell was just follow your instincts, blah blah blah. No, you need data. Following your instincts is most often the safest path, because even if things doesn't work out, at least you won't feel the regret. No, I have followed my own instincts, not someone else's instinct. So in that sense, at least psychologically, it gives you some buffer. I mean, it's often the best advice, but still to make a very informed and very like good decision, you need some data, and I can provide you the data, but the data analysis processing of data is something that you have to do by yourself. That's what I wanted to say. So yeah, first of all, what is it like studying physics? Now this is only I'm telling this only for those who either like high school students who are considering going into physics, or maybe not a high school student, maybe an university student, but they are maybe considering switching to physics or just exploring physics as a minor. Maybe many universities offer you like optional courses if you just want to explore some other subject other than your main area of study. You can do that, right? So this is for them, not for the physics students, because obviously physics students already know this. But yeah, if you're a physics student also, you can maybe listen to me, because my perspectives can slightly vary with yours, and I would like to know your comments, or if any opinion or feedback, you can just share them in the comments if you happen to listen to this. So first of all, the comparison I would like to this is the most important comparison is and the reason I chose this comparison is that I'm pretty sure most of you are aware of this. This is a like it's from soccer or football. Like please don't get started. I will be using the term football if it's soccer for you. Okay, soccer. So it's Messi versus Ronaldo. Now again, this is a very it's a very sensitive topic, especially for football fans. And okay, I don't want to spark a debate. Both are great, both are goats. Okay, I totally get it. Personally, I am more like let's say I am an admirer of both. I am also a Messi fan. I'm also a Ronaldo fan. But personally, I like Ronaldo more. Now that's for a personal reason. Like, please don't give me any arguments about stats and stuff. Like Messi has the World Cup, Ronaldo doesn't have the World Cup. Yeah, I know that. Ronaldo has the highest number of goals. Messi, that is also not the reason. The reason is that Ronaldo's philosophy of not I don't care about their statistics, their success, their skills or whatever, all of that. I'm not a football expert, and yeah, of course, both of them are great players. No doubt on that. But the reason is that Messi is like a magician, from the way I understand it. No, like don't. I'm not a football analyst or football expert, but from the way I see it, Messi is like a magician. Ronaldo is like a machine. Now, magician sounds, better than machine in the sense that magician, that sounds like something grand, something beautiful, something out of this world. Machine sounds very boring, just a machine. But in reality, and pursuing an undergraduate degree in physics in India in St. Xavier's College, where the curriculum was very difficult, has taught me this, that in real life, machine works, magic does not work. It's the most important thing. Now, I'm not saying that Messi does not work. Messi is a magician is just a way of speaking. Of course, Messi also put in a lot of discipline and hard work. Messi didn't have everything in himself. He went through a lot of struggles, and he also built himself through discipline and hard work. So I'm not trying to attribute all of Messi's achievement to magic, because that doesn't work, of course. So that was just to give you a feel. Now don't take the football names too seriously. But yeah, still personally, I am more of a Ronaldo fan, maybe because, well, I just like his confidence and his willpower and his sheer determination and his courage. And yeah, I mean, many of you will say that he's conceited, he's proud of, I mean, he's arrogant and stuff. When he says that I'm the number one, I don't see it that way. I keep telling myself before I go to sleep every night that I'm the number one, not because I believe it, of course. I'm not even close to number one. Even in my, like, even among my peers, leave alone in the world. I know there are a lot of people who are better than me. Some are better than me in physics. Some are better than me in that. A few are better than me in everything combined. I know that. But there is nothing wrong in thinking that I'm the number one, because if we, that is the mindset, that is, see, when Ronaldo says that I'm the number one, he is not trying to act arrogant, and he's not saying that, yeah, I'm the number one footballer, every other footballer is shit. No, that's not what he means. That's his mindset, that's his confidence. Personally, I cannot say I'm the number one, but I can say I'm the only one, based on all of my based on my trajectory. Yeah, in a way, each of us can make this claim, I'm the only one, because no person is exactly like the other person in every aspect. But yeah, in personally, I have always given attached more importance to being the only one than being the number one. I mean, of course, being the only one in a good way, because you can also be the only one in some bad way. Okay, yes, if you know what I mean. So yeah, now, so so if you want to, if you come into physics and you are like, okay, maybe you were very good in physics in high school, and I have this magic, physics is in my blood, physics is in my intuition, I love physics, I will be the best in my class, I will be a pro. No, no, that is not the right attitude. Because, okay, it's maybe you have a knack for physics, maybe you have an intuition for physics, maybe you actually are better than your classmates. That's true, that's totally possible. Maybe you have something of within yourself for physics. But even then, physics is a subject which needs a rigorous training, a formal training. It will be boring at times. It maybe not all of it will be immediately required or useful in your research. I have learned a lot of stuff in my undergraduate, but right now I'm researching in biophysics and social dynamics, which is something which is sounds very off. You are a physics masters. You are doing biological physics. You are doing statistical mechanics. You are doing complex systems. You are doing nonlinear dynamics. That is okay, but you are studying social dynamics. You are studying systems of humans. You are studying human behavior. You are studying emotions. That doesn't sound like a physics student. That sounds like maybe some cognitive science student or neuroscience student or something. I totally get it, but that's how, you can never predict where life will take you. So in my undergraduate years, I spent my time chasing quantum mechanics, quantum field theory, theoretical, that like the fundamental physics and stuff, through internships, through personal projects and stuff. And then near the end, I got interested in a little bit of biophysics, but still I never thought that in a few months in my master's I'll be exploring parallelly biophysics and social dynamics. That was out of my imagination at that time. So you never know. So now right now, the work I'm doing, and possibly the work I will be continuing to do, maybe hopefully in my PhD or and afterwards, I'm pretty sure that I would not need even half of the knowledge that or half of the stuff I learned in my bachelor's. I needed to learn that, otherwise I wouldn't have got my degree, otherwise I wouldn't have come here. I wouldn't be using it. But that doesn't mean it was useless to learn them. You know why? Because in life, in research, it should be a good balance between machine and magician. To get the initial idea, to spark the research question, to spark the, okay, I will take this new approach, that takes the magic. But once you have the idea, if you keep relying on the magic, you will burn out, you will get nowhere. You cannot just go to a conference and say that I have an idea. They will ask you, where is your publication, where is your output, where are your simulations, where are your presentation, where are your slides. If you can't show them anything, no, I just have an idea in my head, get out. We don't care what you have in your head. Now, to convert those ideas in, you not only need patience and hard work to write everything, write an article, you also need originality, you also need talent. But this is a different kind of talent. You need to analyze it mathematically. Having an idea is fine. It could be a very good idea, but you need not only the patience, but not only the patience and hard work, but also the talent, the motivation, and also the mathematical rigor and formal training to turn that idea into something physics, something scientific, something accurate, something verifiable, something testable, and then maybe publish an article out of it. So that takes a machine. A magician cannot pull that off. So it's like, start your like, just once the game begins, be Messi for the first 5 minutes, but be Ronaldo for the rest of the game. Otherwise, you won't be able to score goals. At least in the game of physics. I'm not don't take football too literally for this video, at least. Okay, so yeah. Now, from my experience, it's very important to be a machine at times. Not in the sense that, okay, you just forget your motivation, you forget to ask questions, just for memorize stuff and in the exam. not that kind of machine. Unfortunately, that is what most physics students are like in India. But no, by machine I don't mean that. I don't mean just go into the rat race for marks in the exam. No, yeah, marks in the exam are important, but only to a certain extent. But yeah, I think I told this in one of my previous videos. I decided to like in my bachelor's, in my undergraduate degree, I decided to score over 8 CGPA. That is more than 80%, which is I would say which is a big thing in a physics undergraduate course, especially in our college. Only five of us managed to do it. I think 5 or 6. I mean, including me, it's 6 probably. Yeah, in a class of nearly 40. So the thing is that, but I did that. No, I applied to France and I came here, and I was also accepted in a lot of other universities, even outside France. In France, I was accepted here in Montpellier, in Strasbourg, and 5 or 6 others. Outside France, I was accepted in pretty big names like Edinburgh University, Glasgow University in the UK. Then I didn't bother to apply to Germany because by that time I was focused on France. Plus, well, okay, that's let me not share that. And I was also yeah, I was accepted into Geneva, University of Geneva, then in some universities in Sweden like Uppsala, no, I think Lund University in Sweden. I mean, blah blah blah. But the thing is that the reason I decided to come here is that in Montpellier is number one. It's not a conventional master's, so that means I am getting scholarship. That's also financial support, and not just for the financial support, but also because this is I can do an internship from day one here in the University of Montpellier. The program that I'm in, it's an EDU graduate program. The aim of this program is that they will teach through research, not through a lot of traditional coursework and exams. We have some courses, some exams, but less as compared to other masters in physics, and we can do internships from the first year itself, from now itself, in a funded French lab, not just any like kind of written reading project or something, like a real internship. And plus the climate here is pretty good for me because I don't that's one of the reason I avoided Germany also, because I am a bit adverse. I mean, I cannot take extreme cold. Okay, but yeah, anyway, that's not the point. Let me not talk about that. But the reason is that when applying to all of these places, I actually formed two conclusions. One is that they don't care about your CGPA. None of them asked about me, and I actually pushed myself a bit in my back in India in my undergraduate degree to get a good CGPA because of some personal battles with some of my classmates who, just to show them. I mean, there were actually two groups. One group, I mean, not group, two individuals, maybe 2 or 3. I don't want to like be too specific because I'm pretty sure some of my college mates probably watching. So one of them was like, no, CGPA is everything, and initially she had a bit better CGPA than me. So I was like, no, let me prove that Arpan can even beat her in the CGPA game. Arpan not only beats her in the game of research or publishing or presenting papers or founding journals or publishing books, but also in the game of CGPA. That was just a personal challenge because things turned sour between us for some reason. I don't want to go deep into it. The second group is that, or let's say second individual, however you want to call it. There are some people who are like, okay, this is the ungrateful ones. They maybe they try to do research, they try to show that okay, they are different from the rest. I don't give a damn about CGPA. I am a good researcher. Maybe they have called even professor and done 1 or 2 projects, or so-called internships where they have done 10% of the work, and they have like just through proper networking and politics they have got the seniors to do the most of the work for them, and they are just showcasing that as their, I mean, those kind of thing. Okay, I might sound a bit resentful, so I don't want to go deep into it. So yeah, I mean, now those guys are like they get very poor CGPA, and their excuse is that CGPA doesn't matter. No, I disagree. CGPA or your score in your exams, so that even in the traditional course like in India, undergraduate degree in physics, it does matter. Not because, I mean, okay, I personally don't think that if somebody has scored 80% and if somebody has scored 70%, then or maybe 60%, then that is then from this data alone we can draw a conclusion that this guy who has scored 80% understands physics better than that guy. No, not that. I totally get it, but a good but if you score something less than 60%, then that is also not something which is not right, because internships and stuff, okay, you can prepare a report using ChatGPT. You can do, I mean, just give me your internship. Let me see how much original work you have done. If it's something your supervisor has told you that okay, just to go through this paper, this work was already done by blah 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 in the year blah blah blah, you just try to reproduce it or just try to model it your own way, blah blah blah, that is fine. I mean, you don't need to be, I mean, because you have you have your ChatGPT, you have your internet, you have your laptop, you have your time. In the exam hall you have none of that. Maybe some of the exams questions are a bit like you have to memorize stuff and all, but instead of blindly just criticizing the system, it's also important that exams and even traditional exams, so-called useless exams, they teach you to be resilient. They teach you that, okay, the all-nighters I pulled before the exams, maybe I will not be using those knowledge in my research now. Maybe I will not be using whatever I learned in electronics, or let's say laser optics and stuff. I don't use that in my research right now. But though that experience was important, and my CGPA is a proof of that experience. And no, I survived it, and not only survived, I scored over 80%. That is important. Not because not because that 80% is a stamp, is a validation of my physics knowledge. No, even the books I have published, even those are not a validation of my physics knowledge. To validate my physics knowledge and the way I see physics, you need to speak to me. That is the only way to validate. CVs and all, they paint only 1 or 2% of the actual person. So I don't trust CVs. I don't trust blah blah blah. Okay, so yeah. So that is the reason I'm telling you that if you decide to pursue physics, be it in India or even in most other countries, it is a bit challenge. It's a very challenging course usually, from what I've heard, and even I found it a bit challenging in the initial days. But challenging in the way that was not because I found physics challenging, but that was because my expectations from high school to college was not matching up in the initial days. Like maybe 3 years back when I just joined St. Xavier's College, Kolkata for physics undergraduate. In high school, we have like the books are. I mean, we have very well defined, well structured syllabus. So these are the book you need to learn. All the questions are there in the book. All the solutions are given. Blah blah blah. In undergraduate, it's not. You don't have like well. You just have some reference book name, like maybe a list of 7 books, all of them like this size, and nobody expects you to go through those 7 books, but you can just refer to them if you can understand something, and if you can just read them to get a better understanding of the concepts. That's all. But if you expect that no, I will solve each and every problem in these books, you are done. I mean, it's not possible. It's not possible in 30 years probably, and your course is 3 years, and you have so many classes, not just that single subjects. I mean, so many not just that single class. So what physics taught me, I mean, what studying physics in college taught me rather, is to stop being a perfectionist. Okay, I have not solved all the problems in that chapter. That's fine. I'm not expected to. I just have a good concept. I will do well in the exam. Maybe if I cannot do 1 or 2 sums, that's fine. That's not the end of the world. So this is important, because sometimes you may burn out if you're becoming too much of a perfectionist. And because yeah, at the end of the day, smart work is a very misunderstood term. Smart work is important, not hard work. No, you have to know, like, what is the smart work. Hard work means you're going through all the paths. Smart work means you're figuring out, okay, this is not the right path. I mean, this would be a better path. But to able to have that intuition to figure out which is the right path, which is not, for that you need a lot of experience, and experience comes only with hard work. There is no shortcut. Maybe there is a shortcut to success if you have a lot of money, lot of power, lot of influence, lot of networking. There is a shortcut to success, but there is no shortcut to experience. That is only hard work. So smart work indirectly demands hard work. I mean, if you have worked hard for a very long time, then maybe in the future you can sometimes rely on smart work. But just from day one, if you say that no, I don't work hard, I work smart, that actually makes no sense. So yeah, that's what physics taught me. Not to become a perfectionist, but yeah, sometimes a little bit of smart work is required. So I'm like, okay, this is not very important for my research. This is just standard physics. So okay, I just need to pass the exams and have a good understanding, not solve each and every problem. So okay, fine, because let me just breathe. Otherwise, I will burn out. Number 2 is that at times you need to be a machine. By machine, I mean that you just need to follow sometimes the courses are very hectic. You just need to follow them. If you don't, then okay, you can post WhatsApp statuses and you can like excuse that, okay, I am a researcher, I have done 2 internships, and that justifies my 5 CGPA or 5.7 or 6 CGPA, 6.5 CGPA. I mean, that justifies my 65% score in undergraduate physics, and yet I am a good student. I have done internships. I am doing a master's in physics in Europe. Come on, to get accepted in the master's program in physics in top universities in Europe. I mean, maybe not Oxford, Cambridge, or a few others. It's you don't even need to be a good student. You need to be slightly above average, nothing more. I'm telling this from my experience. I have applied to most countries. You just look at the acceptance rate, look at the statistics, nothing, and that doesn't define you. Maybe you were a student at let's say University XYZ in Europe. It's one of the top. Maybe it has a ranking below 100. What does that tell you? I mean, what does that tell you? The university I am currently in, Mapela University, it's one of the most like it's very high on innovation and interdisciplinary research, although it's not in the top 100. But the acceptance rate in our program and the support that we're getting, not only financial but the professors, the lab, this is I can contrast this with some universities in Europe which are below 100 in rankings, but their acceptance rate is much greater. So it's easier to get accepted there. Why? Because they are giving you the tag. Okay, you're a student, so you get the stamp, but they're not giving you the personalized care and support that some lesser known universities can give you. That is important because your environment matters. Okay, I mean, getting accepted is not a big deal. Even going there, doing a degree, maybe it's a bit difficult, but especially physics, even if you're doing a master's in physics, it's even easier to get accepted, but maybe it's a bit more difficult to complete your degree because there's a lot of, from what I hear, although I'm not sure, a lot of people apparently drop out from physics masters because of course it's a bit difficult, it's much demanding. But getting accepted in the physics master is easy because most people don't even bother to apply to a master's in physics. It's like, I mean, especially from these countries. So the international students have an even better chance of getting accepted in a physics master. So yeah, so those people who justify that, no, I have a 50% in my bachelor's, and that's fine because I didn't give a damn about all those nonsense curriculum. I have done 2 internships and I am studying in a European university. That says nothing about you. Yeah, maybe if you have done some in one of your internships or project, if you have built a model of your own, like something original, maybe that counts a bit. I have done that. I have built my own model and I'm working on it, but that was not as part of an internship. That was my independent work. So yeah, I could make that claim that I have done 3 internships, like actually 2 internships and one dissertation project. And parallelly, I have managed to do so much original, like so much independent work. I don't know, like not all of these are very serious or very high level, but at least I've tried. So, but I never claim this in public that look, I have done that, because okay, I have done that not to be able to tell people that I have done that. I've done that because I couldn't rest until I've jotted on the points and written that. I mean, posted that on my website or maybe on my research kit or something as a preprint, because a lot of people, a lot of researchers, a lot of students from all over the world, they contact me by email or something. By reading their papers, and in 1 or 2 cases we have formed a very good connection, very good bond after that. You know why? It may appear crazy to you that, oh my god, somebody contacted you via email, that Arpan, I read your paper, it was beautiful, and you were comfortable sharing your WhatsApp number with them. Yes, because we are all comfortable sharing our WhatsApp numbers with our classmates in college or university, right? Why? We did not know those persons, right? It was just accident that, okay, before the first class, we none of us knew each other, but in the first class it just accidentally we met. Okay, so you're going to be my classmate for the next 2 years. Okay, you're going to be my classmate for the next 2 years. Okay, so I will be totally isolated if I don't make any friends. So whether I like it or not, I have to make at least a friends with at least 1 or 2. They are thinking the same way. So it is a imposed or conditioned friendship. They don't know who I am, I mean, at least not in the first day, but they just see me as their classmate. So that is a friendship because, okay, we were friends because we came together, like chance brought us together, we became classmates, that's why we became friends. I'm not saying such friendships don't work out. In many cases they do. School classmates, like even college, university, like throughout lifetime friendships. But those are still, at least in my personal view, those are still not genuine friendships. Some stuff remain because that friendship is built on a condition. But if someone reads your paper or reads your book or reads your article and and loves you or likes you for your ideas, even if they have not watched you, not met you in person, there is nothing you can do for them, there is nothing they can do for you. When we are classmates, we have this condition, no, it's better be friends, I would be isolated, or okay, let's better be friends with that guy, he has all the notes, so I can, if I miss classes, I can ask him for the notes. Now those are all like kind of friends for benefits. But if someone just reads your ideas and likes them so much that they take the time to write a detailed email to you, even though none of us have anything to gain for each other, that's a friendship I would value any day. Even if it lacks the in person, like I cannot meet them in person maybe regularly, I would value that friendship any day over any conventional so-called like college or university friends. And that's the reason, because that friendship started on, like, without any condition, just on the basis of pure admiration for my ideas. That's the most valuable thing to me, not any other flattery or any kind of shit. I haven't too much of those, I dare say. So yeah, so now to those guys, so yeah, now I want to tell you, if you really want to go into physics, be ready to work hard. And maybe in your initial days, since physics is a subject that you need a lot of formal training, you may think that after reading a popular science books and stuff, you may think that I can deal with physics. Okay, it's very interesting. Why do I need to go through all these textbooks to get my degree? I just, maybe I'll just work in quantum mechanics. Why do you have to learn this? Why do you have to learn that? No, you actually, at least at the undergraduate level, at least at a basic level, you have to have a formal training. Because when you are learning quantum mechanics, it's not just that you are learning quantum mechanics, you are training your mind to think in terms of eigenvalues and eigenvectors. You are training your mind to think in terms of probabilities and possibilities. When you're learning statistical mechanics, you are training your brain to think in terms of hidden assumptions, in terms of thermodynamic limits, in terms of the statistics, central limit theorem, or what happens when, for a large number of particles, averaging effects, these kind of things. This is all very important. You are training your brain to think in terms of which function might be useful here, which function might be useful there. What can I use this equation here? Can I use that equation? It's all a training. So even if you may not be going into that field in your research, at least at the undergraduate level, you should not ignore any thing in your course. Maybe, of course, it depends. Maybe you should give more time beyond your textbook, beyond your curriculum. You should give more time to your interest. The others, okay, not so much, just enough to float through. But not totally ignore anything, even if you find it like boring or irrelevant to you, because a degree in physics teaches you to think critically. And if whether or not you do physics or not, that is a very useful skill in today's world whatsoever. That's why a lot of people who have degrees in physics, they don't go to physics, but they go to many other industries which are open to them, like high paying jobs and stuff. So you say that is the reason. And yeah, so I think that's all. Is there anything? Actually, I kind of messed up this video a bit. Like, I told a lot of stuff I should not have said. I mean, just a waste of time in that sense. And wait, am I missing something I wanted to say actually? Okay, yeah, one last thing. So when you talk about physics, like your expectation versus reality. One thing is that don't. The most important lesson, I think I already told you, that don't try to be a perfectionist, but never neglect any of your coursework either. The next important thing is that research, and I think I have said something similar in some of my previous videos, but this is important, that choose your research question, research topic wisely, because it has to be a balance between passion and practicality. Because maybe you have a passion in string theory, but maybe string theory is not the best option if you want to be a physicist currently, because especially given all the funding cuts in countries all around the world, I mean, you should choose something which has some practical value to society. Biophysics is a good choice in that aspect. I'm just giving you some examples. You should reach out to people, not even beyond your college or university. You should email professors or maybe attend conference whenever possible. You should, and this is important, reach out to, maybe also reach out to peers of your age, somebody, I mean, not just class, even online. And you should, I'm sorry, yeah, you should also, this is a very crucial point about like expectation versus reality, as I kept saying throughout this video, is that physics, especially a degree in physics, a course in physics, you cannot hope to understand everything in class, which is very frustrating. I get it. Maybe in the first two classes you did, and from the third class you can't, and you start doubting yourself. No, physics is not for me. That might happen, but trust me, it is more or less the same story with everyone. So don't doubt yourself, and it's perfectly normal. You won't understand everything in class, because for many reasons. Number one is that in class, classes are, I don't know, they have a time limit, and the professors to complete a lot of syllabus. So they cannot go through each and every point in detail, even if they want to. And then maybe some professors are not very supportive or not very approachable outside class, so you cannot get a quick reply. So you have to do self-study. You have to go online and check and stuff. That may be a bit frustrating, but always remember at the back of the mind that you are training yourself to think. You are giving yourself a skill that will be invaluable in your life, even if you don't pursue physics in the future as a profession. So that should be the biggest motivation if you're pursuing a course in physics. That itself is one of the biggest motivation, that you are learning skills which will be invaluable regardless of whatever you do in your life. So yeah, and okay, that's pretty much it. And physics. So like, if I continue my story a little bit more in near the end of the video, in my undergraduate years, the first year I failed in mathematics. We had mathematics as an additional subject. Physics was our main subject. And in the second year I scored very poorly. Like in the second semester. First semester I failed in mathematics. Second semester I scored very poorly, overall, very poorly, like 57%, 5.7. So 57% out of 100 is, there were classmates who scored 70%, 80% and stuff. So you can understand I was very down on low on self-esteem and stuff, blah blah blah. Now from the third semester, that is from the second year, I started improving not only my scores, but I was also accepted to some internships and fellowships, which was a good thing, because in the first year I was rejected by most internships I applied to, even though some people from our class got in. So yeah, so from semester 3 it was like my kind of turning back or something. Of course there were downs, but I steadily maintained like over 80%. One time I scored nearly 90% in, I think, in semester 4, or yeah, semester 4. And then I did a lot of projects and stuff, and that is what sets me apart. I never said that this scores in the exams were just a personal battle, and also a testimony of my struggles, of my, let's say, my hard work, not struggles, my hard work. But that is all. But there are at least one or two people in my class who scored higher than me, so it's nothing. But the projects, the ideas, that is something which is always my original. I pride myself on. So your journey, if you were into physics, I mean, if you're pursuing any, whatever course you're pursuing in college, your journey will be a roller coaster due to a lot of things. It would be hectic. You'll make some really good friends, good connections. You will make some, and then you will also meet some people who will motivate you. Because in my case, I met most people in my class, not most but many. After meeting them, I was motivated. Oh my god, humans can be this mean. Thank god I'm not like that. So it's an indirect motivation. By motivated, I don't mean they will inspire you to be like them, but they will inspire you to be yourself and be as different from them as possible. So that is also true. So anyway, it would be an emotional up and down, but and I don't want to talk about that here. You can deal with it. But specifically for physics, if you want to pursue physics, let me tell you that don't let the work pile up. It's a very important advice, because this happens often. The work piles up and you just ignore the work and it piles up. But physics, if you like try to do the whatever you learn in your lectures, just be in touch with the subject daily outside the classroom as best as possible. I mean, maybe 1 or 2 days you feel tired, or maybe you go out with your friends, that's okay. But just don't keep, okay, maybe if you just keep yesterday's work for maybe a few more days, then that will pile up, and then at one point it would appear, oh my god, so much, it would appear insurmountable. So don't take too much stress. Your exams are not the end of the world. If you cannot solve each and every problem on the worksheet or on the book, that is okay. That is how it is. Nobody does everything. If you can't understand everything right in the class, that's okay. But you have to put in the effort at home, and that is why I told you, for physics, at least for when you're having the formal training, which will be important later. Even when you're tackling a research problem, this training is important, because you will be surprised. But the techniques we use in electronics, this kind of circuit, triangle with that circuit and stuff, then we use the matrix to solve. Those are the same techniques we use in particle physics, and even in like the eigenvector in quantum mechanics are the same techniques we use. Hamiltonians in statistical mechanics also we define Hamiltonians, and I mean we use much of the same techniques in across many branches of physics. So maybe we will not be like, that's why I'm saying don't ignore any of your any of your coursework. Just try to, and a good exercise when if you're pursuing a course in physics, which maybe no one will tell you, is that keep asking why whenever you're studying, or why is this way, what would have been different if it was that way. And you have ChatGPT, you have the internet. Don't be too verbal in class, especially for in India, because I have faced this. Some professors, if you ask too many questions, if they're really good professors, they will answer you, and they will like your motivation, like your curiosity, like your drive. But some professors, their ego gets hurt if you ask too many questions, and they are like, just don't ask questions. That's what I'm saying. Maybe don't be too verbal in the class. Just size up the professors and just ask questions only to those who are approachable. If they're not, that's fine. But don't stop the questions in your head, and you have ChatGPT today. That's a big advantage. I mean, 30 years ago, the students who were studying physics, they didn't have ChatGPT. They couldn't just go to ChatGPT and ask a doubt they have. Hey, ChatGPT, today I learned this equation in class. I was wondering what would have been different if the equation was like this. Just ask a question. It will give you detailed response. This is how you learn to think, not only by solving problems in the textbook. So this is something you can always do, because I mean you can always maybe afford a little bit of time, because this is also part of your course, so you're not totally wasting your time. That is the way your brain has been trained to think. But if you try to explore something entirely different outside your curriculum, you will be wasting time, and maybe not wasting time, but you will feel guilty. Though I have so much stuff to do in the syllabus, I will do poorly in the exam, and at the end of the day, your degree and a decent score is required after to get your admission in the next step, next degree. So yeah. And don't be too much of a perfectionist. Don't stress out, because at the end of the day, your health remains your biggest wealth. But also, especially in the initial days, but like maybe at your undergraduates, explore new ideas, explore projects, but still be more Ronaldo than Messi. Like, I mean, be more machine than magician. You start becoming a full magician only after your PhD, or maybe during your PhD or something. But it's actually, maybe you won't understand this now, or maybe you will, but at least in the initial 1 or 2 years, it's good to have a rigorous formal training. And even if that means at the cost of original ideas, it's fine. You don't need to have original ideas in your first year of undergraduate studies. So this is the time where you are building yourself and like a machine. Because at the end of the day, let me finish the video by telling you, magic sounds more impressive than machine. But at the end of the day, it's the machine that carries the world forward. It's the machine that works. Magic does not work in the real world. I would like to know your thoughts, or if you have anything else to share, any other questions or anything. And thank you for watching. Goodbye. Take care.